Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson. Very excited to connect with you today. We've spent a lot of time the last few weeks talking about what it means to thrive in nursing. And today I just want to talk with you about what thriving nurses know that burnout nurses do not. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. And I think we all know that nobody goes into nursing with the expectation that they're going to quit their role, quit the job, hang up their license, anything like that. Typically, people go into nursing because they care about others. They want to serve and care for others, and this is their chosen career path, right? What tends to happen, though, is that nursing gets riddled with all the challenges of things like, unsafe staffing levels, too high of a patient load, same type of thing. Maybe we have systems issues that maybe a system fails, whether it's a medication administration system, and we have a workaround for that leads to unsafe care. There's potential for litigation. Today, there's potential for violence. So all these things kind of compound to add a lot to the stress level to nurses, and they're already in a highly stressed position, right? Nursing is not just a walk in the park. There's a lot to do providing necessary care and treatment to patients. So what I want to share with you today is 5 things that thriving nurses know that probably nurses who are experiencing burnout and symptoms of just not being happy and fulfilled in their nursing careers probably do not know. Okay, so number 1, thriving nurses are setting boundaries and they don't have a guilt trip about it. What does that look like? It looks like when somebody asks you to just pick up, when your manager or somebody says, yeah, I need you to pick up one more shift, saying, no, I'm unavailable that day, without giving a reason and without feeling guilty. Because truly, your time off should be your own, right? So we have to begin to separate ourselves from the feelings of guilt that have for so long, been a part of our decision making. I'm going to feel guilty if I let my team down. Well, how will you feel a year from now or 2 years from now if you end up as someone like me who experiences major depression and all of a sudden can't work for 3 years, right? Where's the guilt that I know we all feel when we work that extra shift, and maybe we're more irritable with our family when we are home because we're really tired. We're physically and emotionally exhausted from having done it, so we have little left to give to our families. So setting boundaries without guilt is key to successfully navigating your nursing career, and thriving nurses know this, and thriving nurses do it, okay? So thriving nurses, number 2, the thing that thriving nurses are doing that maybe other nurses are not is they're finding their people. They're finding communities of like-minded, supported nurses and others who support them through the day-to-day, okay? And so what happens is when you connect with other like-minded people and people who understand exactly what you're facing, you realize and you recognize that you're not alone. So that sense of isolation, that sense of being all by yourself to figure everything out just goes away. And so you begin to recognize that others may have the solutions that you need. Maybe they've been exactly where you are, and you can gain from their experiences. So community gives us the benefit of, 1, not being isolated, never having to feel like you're going it alone. And also, it allows you a space for sharing and really talking about the things that weigh heavy on your heart and on your mind. And while I know that healthcare organizations want to provide this level of support to their nurses, what I'm hearing is many of them are not prepared to create the platform that it would be held on, or maybe they don't even have, and then they don't have the staff, right? Who would be able to man it to support the nurses. So that's where Thriving Nurse Network comes in. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But the third thing that thriving nurses are doing that other nurses are not is that they're discovering nursing beyond the bedside. Okay, hear me clearly. I know we need bedside nurses. And I also know that there are nurses like me who work better and are able to perform better outside of the traditional healthcare setting. As somebody who has made my way through recovery from major depression, I can work in the traditional clinical setting, but it's not the best way for me to take care of my mental health. Okay. I let go of the guilt of that a long, long time ago. Today, I know it's just a choice. It's the same kind of choice that a nurse would make to work in a traditional setting as it is to work outside of it. So, in my opinion, we need nurses both at the bedside, and we need the nurses who step outside of the bedside and do things like nurse innovation, step into entrepreneurship, start other businesses, have creative ideas. Also, for those nurses who are at the bedside, though, do not forget that you have the opportunity to establish yourself as an intrapreneur. What is an intrapreneur? Again, this is an opportunity beyond the traditional bedside role that allows you to serve your organization in a role of creativity and innovation, to offer up and provide solutions to the problems and system issues that occur within your workplace. So there's a beautiful mix of what can happen for nurses who are bold enough and brave enough to consider what exists for me beyond the bedside. And thriving nurses are definitely doing this. Number 4, here's the 4th thing that thriving nurses are doing that other nurses are not. And this is they're speaking up. And other nurses and leaders are listening. All right. So all change doesn't start in the C-suite or at the level of the CEO. In my opinion, it starts with each and every one of us as individual nurses who refuse to accept the status quo and say to ourselves, oh, this is just nursing. This is just how it is. No. Each of us has a leader within that we can call upon to speak and advocate for ourselves. And so nurses today are using their voices. Nurses who are thriving are using their voices to address unsafe situations that exist in their workplace. They're joining organizations that advocate for better conditions. They're mentoring newer nurses so they can stop the cycle of nurses eat their young. And they're building coalitions of other healthcare workers to demand change, right? These are all powerful, powerful things that happen. When just one nurse speaks up, that one nurse can be dismissed. But when nurses come together in large groups and large numbers, we become a movement that is unstoppable. So today, I hope this message inspires you to join the movement, right? Join the Nurses Feed Their Young movement, where we're creating a better future for nursing. All right. And number 5, the number 5 thing that thriving nurses are doing that other nurses are not is they're investing in themselves first. Okay. Nurses, I want you to hear me. Today, I invite you to move yourself to the front of the line. You no longer wait behind everything else on your to-do list to put yourself first. Okay. So move yourself to the front of the line. I want you to apply, what do they tell us on the airplanes about oxygen, right? If the masks drop down, be sure to put yours on first so that you can help others. Same kind of thing. Okay. You can't pour from an empty cup. So nurses who are thriving understand that taking care of themselves is necessary. It is not selfish. Okay. Trust me, as someone who made my way to recovery from major depression, I know I talk about that a lot, but it's a place I don't want any nurse to ever go because that was a very, very difficult and challenging recovery to make. Okay. But the nurses who put themselves first are the nurses who are thriving. So they're investing in things like coaching. Maybe it's personal coaching to support you in your career transitions. Maybe you're learning more and growing your skill set with targeted education, right? Those things that fill your cup. Learning something new could be very exciting, and it doesn't even have to be nursing related, okay? They're creating routines that protect their mental and physical health, getting enough sleep at night. They're learning how to speak up. They're learning how to assert themselves and stop a bully in their tracks. They're learning how to say no without guilt. They're practicing these new skills that we weren't trained on in nursing school, but that we desperately need to survive it, okay? And also these nurses are setting aside time to find joy and rest in their lives without ever apologizing for needing it or having it, okay? So again, these are not luxury items. These are absolute necessities of life. So today, I'm excited to share these tips with you, and I want to invite you to join the nurses who are done just surviving. Okay. This week, Thriving Nurse Network is hosting a webinar, and our webinar is titled, let me see if I can find it, Thriving in Nursing, How to Take Control of Your Career and Move from Burnout to Balance, even if you're on the edge of burnout or you're thinking of leaving nursing altogether. Click the link below this video and get yourself registered. In that 90-minute webinar session, we're going to be talking about why burnout is not your fault, strategies that you can use to immediately improve your ability to advocate for yourself and speak up even when you're afraid to, and so much more. But I want you to be able to move the needle on your satisfaction with your nursing career and also learn a little bit more about the Thriving Nurse Network and how, if you would like to continue that level of support, you can easily get started with us. So remember this: the future of nursing is not found in a system that's breaking us. It's found in a community that we're building together. Join me this Thursday evening for the webinar. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.